What is up, everyone? Welcome to HiFi Turtle, the #1 reptile adjacent hi-fi page on the internet, bringing the audiophile out of their shell. Today I'm not talking about one, but two products from Aperion Audio. If you don't know, Aperion Audio has been making speakers and amplifiers, and they've been in business for 25 years. This Grandest GR6 bookshelf speaker behind me is in celebration of that 25th year here in 2024. And I also have their Energy Series amplifier. This is the Energy E2 two-channel amplifier from Aperion Audio. I want to give a big shout out to Aperion Audio, not just for sending me these products for this review, but they've been a big supporter of this channel ever since I really started out. So even before I was at the level that I am, and I'm still a pretty small YouTuber, all things considered, they were really supportive and really helpful and very friendly online. So big shout out to Aperion. They're really nice people, so check them out if you can. Before we continue, make sure you hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Check the links below in the description for other ways to help support the channel. And I'm really proud to announce my latest partnership with the Music Room. The Music Room is a huge retailer here in the United States. They do a lot of business with used hi-fi gear. You can actually sell your hi-fi gear to them, co-sign them with them. I've done that myself in the past. I'm a big believer in their business model. And right now you can use code TURTLE100 on their website for any used purchase over $2,000. You'll get $100 off. So big thanks to the Music Room for this support, and let's get back into the review. So like I said, I'm not talking about just one, but two Aperion Audio products. Their Energy E2 amplifier, which comes in at $1,400 US, and then their GR6 bookshelf, which comes in at $2,300. There is a larger GR8, which has an 8-inch mid-bass woofer that's a little bit more expensive, but kind of the same style. And then on the flip side of that, the Energy Series also has multiple channels of audio where you can select the 2-channel one like I have, all the way up to 7 channels. And because this is a slot amplifier style, you get the same exact amplification all throughout those channels. So whether you're a home theater enthusiast or you just want multiple channels all throughout your home because you have custom installs, then don't worry, you're still gonna get the same great quality sound regardless of your amplifier configuration. The build quality on the Energy Series is really nice, very solid, has a lot of weight and heft to it. I particularly like the binding posts on the E2. They're these custom milled binding posts that Aperion makes themselves, and I think they're really nice. Although I will say that when you plug in a banana cable to this, that the banana sometimes will not slot all the way in. So if that annoys you, then go for a spade. But I do like this custom binding post from Aperion. Like I said, those slot amplifiers are putting out 300 watts into 4 ohms or 180 watts into 8 ohms. And their power supplies are dual toroidal transformers, which are potted, which at $1,400 seems like a unusual choice for an amplifier of such great value. Again, you typically see that on much more expensive amplifiers, but Aperion has done it here. They are a direct B2C model. I don't think they have any dealers. They are just all online, so they can offer that great value to you at a lower price than you would typically find with another brand that has to sell through a distributorship and dealership and so on and so forth. Externally, the amplifier is kind of no frills. There's not a lot of styling or aesthetics here, except for the choice to use a light up logo display in the very front, which is red when the amplifier is in standby mode, and then turns to white when you actually power on the amplifier. I'm not sure how I feel about the Aperion logo and then the Aperion name appearing under it when Aperion Audio is also seen to the left of the amplifier. So I think that one of those could be eliminated. I also not in love with the E2 font that is here in the front, but these are very superfluous kind of gripes that I have with this amplifier from a design perspective. Changing over to the Grandest GR6 bookshelf, this is a celebration of Aperion Audio's 25th year in business. Started in 1999, 2024 now, 25 years. This bookshelf accumulates all their knowledge in speaker building and audio into a really fantastic product. I especially love the finish. This blue opal is what they call it. Also comes in a rosewood opal. I would go as far to say that it kind of reminds me of like a bird's eye maple of like some of the Bowers & Wilkins like signature series. Although again, at $2,300, this is nowhere near the price of nearly any Bowers & Wilkins Signature Series that you have ever seen in the past, and certainly not one in such a fantastic finish as this. And as much as I love this finish, and this is not a knock at all, I think that there's something in my brain that kind of makes me love it even more, because it kind of reminds me of the old SpongeBob like French narrator backgrounds that they used to put up, like the 2 hours later. And something about that, just this finish makes me think of that. So I think there's something in my brain, because I love SpongeBob so much, that this finish like just is bringing back like the nostalgia, and it's like, yeah, this is so awesome. But it is an awesome finish. This is an HDF construction all throughout, and it is curved, so you don't have any internal resonance, internal modes that are getting stuck in the cabinet, which is, again, just surprising to see in a speaker that costs $2,300. You may have been able to deduce from the name GR6, there is a 6.5-inch woofer that is used for the mids and bass. This is a custom-made woofer by Aperion, and they go into great deal on their website about the development and the particulars about the motor and development of this particular driver. They use a AFG, which is aluminum, foam, and glass construction. So on the back of the driver is a fiberglass layer, then in between is a foam layer, and then the layer that you're seeing on top is aluminum. And then turning to the 1.1-inch soft dome tweeter, which has a proprietary coating that Aperion has developed and tested and made to perfection, there is the gold colored phase plug. It's a phase plug. I know it's not like a traditional like mid woofer phase plug, but it is a phase plug when you think about high frequencies for the tweeter. Aperion again goes into great deal on their website about the development of this tweeter and how they wanted to make it absolutely as perfect as possible, turning to the crossover to correct any of the imperfections in the actual physical characteristics of this crossover, or in the tweeter, saying that in their development they found an extremely expensive capacitor that really brought out the best of this tweeter, but they were able to custom develop their own capacitor with similar specs to the extraordinarily expensive one in order to maximize the performance of this tweeter. Turning to the back, you'll see this is a bass reflex design. There is a particularly large port on the back, and then the binding posts are 2 sets of binding posts, which will allow you to buy amp or buy wire this speaker if you so choose. Then the binding posts are the same solid metal posts that we saw on the Energy Amplifier. For a direct comparison to the GR6, I had my reference speakers, which are the Dynaudio Confidence 50s, which of course are kind of in another league than the GR6, but we'll talk more about that in a second, and the Stark Beta 7, which is a $750 pair of bookshelf speakers. On the amplifier side, we had the SPL M1000, which are my reference monoblock amplifiers, but also the more modestly priced RSL IA 255.1. Using other amplifiers with the GR6, I feel like the sound signature of the GR6 is a little bit different than almost any other speaker that I am familiar with. I wouldn't call it V-curved or bass heavy or neutral. It's kind of got its own sound signature, although I would say that most closely sound related to the GR6 is not any speaker that I've ever listened to. In fact, what reminded me a lot of the GR6 is the Focal Utopia headphones, the original Utopia headphones, not the newer model. I think that the level of detail that the GR6 pulls out and the other kind of tonal characteristics of this speaker is very similar to that headphone. So if you're an owner of that headphone, or you've heard that headphone and really like it but are more inclined to speakers or want a speaker that sounds like that headphone, I would highly consider the GR6. Conversely, the E2 amplifier is something of a more bassy amplifier, a little less emphasis on the treble or the upper mids, and more so a fun-packed amplifier that's still highly resolving and very fun to listen to and very satisfying to listen to. Even while critically listening, I would say that it does cater a little bit more to those who want to have a little bit more bass oomph in their amplifier pairing. Combining the GR6 with other amplifiers, I felt like that, again, this is that tonality of the Utopia headphone, where I do like the Utopias, although in my listening with Focal headphones, at least that generation of Focal headphones, I always preferred the Elir or the Clear because I felt like the Utopia was a little gritty in the upper mid-range. And I feel like the GR6 can feel that way as well, with a seeming emphasis on the 3 to 4 kilohertz range. So it's in that upper mid presence versus like the true treble, I would say, that you kind of start to feel around 5 kilohertz. And I can certainly say that that is the case because with the RSL IA 255.1, which has the EQ adjustment that starts to roll off around 5 kilohertz, adjusting that really did not do anything for that kind of more peaky frequency that I was experiencing. I don't necessarily want to describe it as gritty or harsh, but it definitely has an emphasis to where it may feel like that there is more detail in female vocals and certainly some portions of percussion. There is more detail, more transparency, but it does come off slightly emphasized. And while again, it may sound more resolute or more transparent or more clear, it also kind of comes off a little bit artificial to where, since it doesn't sound like that in any other speaker that I'm familiar with at least, it almost seems like something is weird with it. That being said, the combination of the Energy E2 and the GR6 just feel like a match made in heaven to me. I think that there is a huge emphasis on being extremely musical, extremely enjoyable, a fun speaker to listen to with long listening sessions and just pure enjoyment of music, regardless of what that genre or recording may entail, to bring you just closer to your music and make you fall in love with the music all over again. I particularly liked listening to Alive by 7 Hours After Violet. If you don't know 7 Hours After Violet, they're a band started by the bassist from System of a Down. And while not entirely derivative, I would say that they do have certainly a very high influence from that band. But it's really great. That track, I love it. I love the cascading vocals, the harshness combined with the melodic vocals. It's amazing. It's really great. And on the GR6 and the E2, I would almost venture to say that I prefer listening to that combination than even my SPL M1000 and Confidence 50s, which of course, I mean, even the M1000 alone blows the price of that combination out of the water. While it certainly is not as resolute, as clear, as transparent, as detailed, as separated in the instrumentation, the enjoyableness of that track out of the Aperion combination is, again, just pure musicality and doesn't lend itself to the flaws in that recording and make you realize, oh, this is not the most amazing, polished, beautiful audiophile recording you ever heard, but it is an extremely fun listen, very fleshed out, still able to convey an amazing image and soundstage that just brings you, again, closer to the music and makes you fall in love, again, with the music, regardless of how it was recorded or what kind of music you're really listening to. I definitely feel like the pairing of the E2 and the GR6, while, again, the detail in those upper mids is still there, and certainly I could say slightly emphasized, it is dialed back ever so slightly to where I don't feel like it comes off as something that is EQ'd into there. It does feel like, oh, this speaker is just that highly resolving. It is that transparent in this mid-range. That's the kind of feel that I get from this pairing versus with the other amplifiers where I felt like it felt like emphasized and almost artificial to an extent. So there you have it. The GR6 is just a impeccably built bookshelf speaker for, again, $2,300. I find it hard to go wrong here. I think the look is so unique, really beautiful, very meticulously crafted, and something that presents itself as a great value in a very competitive speaker market around this kind of $2,000 mark. Comparatively, the E2 at $1,400, again, comes off of build-wise as something that is very hard to find in this particular price category and can lend itself to a myriad different of applications, whether that is just 2-channel listening or you want to opt for the additional channels 5, 3, 5, 7, for home theater or whole home audio applications. It offers that flexibility through its model range. And coming together, they make for an amazing audio experience that will bring you closer to your music and just make you enjoy that music regardless of the style, the recording, and kind of melt away that kind of audiophile that you get sometimes with the enhanced detail and resolution that comes from listening to your favorite tracks. Again, big thanks to Aperion Audio for sending me these for this review. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, check the links below in the description for other ways to help support the channel, including using promo code TURTLE100 at tmraudio.com for $100 off any $2,000 purchase of pre-owned gear or more. And as always, I will see you in the next one.